Any athletic season is filled with emotional ups and downs, even for the best teams that find success far more than failure. One area team went through those roller coasters on a daily basis this year, all due to a loss they suffered before their season ever began.
We would like to take a moment to honor and celebrate our seniors.
Don't cry, don't cry. Don't cry.
Senior night for any high school team
No, I refuse.
is an emotional event.
My baby's girl. Love you, girl.
A celebration of achievement
With a winning record each season,
mixed with the remorse of realization.
Oh, I love you so much.
Knowing teammates will be going their separate ways very soon.
Love you, girl.
The 12 seniors on this year's James River girls soccer team know all too well how fast emotions can change. This year's team had plans to make the regional playoffs as they did 2 years ago.
Sometimes things just happen and there's no answer.
But before their very first game,
That Tuesday, there was a lot of tears.
they received news their coach, Ian Stowe, had passed away suddenly and unexpectedly, leaving a void unlike any other they could imagine.
Most of these girls have known Ian since they were young. He was either their coach directly or indirectly.
Honestly, it felt like he wasn't my coach because he was that great of a person and he was there for me whenever I needed it.
It can be difficult to get teenagers to agree on anything, but all 40 members of the JV and varsity teams at James River thought of Stowe as far more than a coach.
He would ask me what my goals in life were, and I just felt like I could tell him because he would be the most understanding and most supportive person about it.
He was a mentor and a confidant,
I would text him probably every day, call him probably every other day, and talk about anything.
someone to whom players shared some of their most innermost thoughts and dreams.
Even if it was a problem that I was having, I would tell him and he would give the best advice back to me.
He was a perfect girls coach. You know, girls don't do well with being screamed and yelled at, but he had a tone about him that the girls knew when he was serious and he meant business without raising his voice.
Rapids on three! 1, 2, 3, Rapids!
The day after they received the news, both teams spent the entire day together inside the school library,
Back with her, Elna, because you got to watch 11.
sharing stories and lending support. There were as many laughs as there were tears.
I think it just brought us together as a team, that big group, and just like bonding together. This tragedy just kind of showed us how strong we were, and it just really brought us together.
Yeah! Oh, it was a roller coaster. And I told the girls that's what it's going to be like for a long time. We all grieve in different ways. And so there were moments of just, giggling together, and then it would hit somebody, and then it's kind of, a chain reaction.
And that's also how the season has gone. In front of their families, friends, and Stowe's widow, who took his customary seat on the sidelines, the Rapids rode a crest of emotion to a 3-0 victory in their final regular season home game. Stowe's presence is missing, but his voice lives on inside the imaginations of those to whom he meant so much.
You can do it. Sorry. I can just hear him saying, like, Rapids on 3. And then go Rapids.
I feel like I hear him telling us, enough crying already. Let's play some soccer. He just wants us to go out and have fun.
and that's the end of our game tonight.
The win is gratifying,
All the scoring for James River came from seniors.
but does little to answer the questions these young ladies might have forever.
I question it a lot because he was just an amazing person. And it just makes me wonder, why him?
Why him out of all the people in the world, the best guy ever, why?
The answer could be this. The Rapids lost a great coach and a better friend. What they have gained is a bond and closeness few teams might ever know, which will stay with them far beyond this night on this field.
As long as we're doing it together as a team and we're trying our hardest to win, that's all that really matters to me.
I've just never been this close to so many girls, and I feel like we bonded over this in a way that not many teams can bond over.
This is life, and these things kind of happen, and we can't always explain it. We don't know the reason, but we just have to move on. And they all know that Ian wouldn't want them crawling in bed and sitting in a dark room and grieving for him. He would want them to go out, live their life, and have a good time.
And we wish you safe travels home. Good night, everybody.
The Rapids made it all the way to their regional final this year, where they lost to Cosby, finishing their abbreviated season at 6-6. Hannah Calliot will play at the next level at Christopher Newport. The program must say goodbye to the 12 seniors, but Coach Thomas is optimistic for next year with some very talented underclassmen returning. JMU pulled off one of the biggest upsets in Women's College World Series history earlier today, beating top-ranked Oklahoma 4-3 on this Kate Gordon home run in the 8th inning. Odyssey Alexander struck out 9 in the circle, sending JMU to the next round in the winners bracket in their first ever trip to the World Series. And VCU announced today that rising sophomore guard Ace Baldwin ruptured an Achilles tendon last week and will be out indefinitely. Baldwin was named to the A-10 All-Rookie team last year and was the first VCU freshman to start every game in 12 years. His recovery time is still to be determined after successful repair surgery on Tuesday. Did you know that catcher's gear is called the tools of ignorance? The phrase is meant to be ironic because a catcher in baseball has to know more than just their own position. And in the case of one young man in Ashland, he has to know even more than that to be successful.
Good. Next.
There are many things about playing catcher that make it different from every other position on a baseball team.
They feel good.
They wear gear. They crouch all the time. And it might be the least popular option on the field.
At that practice, when they said something, they said, who wants to catch? And not one kid raised it. Nobody wants to catch.
I like defense and being catcher because you're in the moment every pitch. And it's fun to just be in every moment.
10-year-old Garrett Marr of Ashland had no problem getting behind the plate. And even just a few games into their season, he already has his pitchers and their signals memorized.
One can throw 5, one can throw 3, and everybody else can only throw 3. 2-seam, 4-seam, curveball, changeup, cutter. And then this is 2-seam, 4-seam, changeup for the best pitcher on our team.
Nice pitch.
A catcher also has the opportunity to throw out runners trying to steal. Garrett's eyes light up when he thinks about gunning down would-be base thieves.
I got 3 people out in one game. Someone at first got too big of a lead, someone stole second, and then we got him in a pickle, and then another person stole and I got them.
And they're taking off on any catcher, you know, much less someone who's working to get through it. But he's done it. He's been doing it, and he likes it.
What Garrett is working through may not be obvious at first.
I have a disability. I don't know what it's called.
When you first meet him, that's not the first thing you see. You know, a lot of people say, I had no idea, you know, that he had a disability or anything was going on.
Garrett has a form of cerebral palsy called hemiplegia, a weakness on the left side of his body caused when he suffered a stroke in utero. He uses his right hand for everything he does.
Most of the day-to-day tasks that they've been working on making sure that he can do, things you take for granted, you know, buttons and things like that. Belts. He's been working on belts, socks, putting your shoes on. He's learned how to do that.
We were scared.
Yeah, it's tough because it's something you can't fix. As a parent, that's the toughest. You want to fix it all.
There you go, Joseph.
So I can't really like write or do anything with it.
Garrett has been doing occupational and physical therapy since before his first birthday, but it's been sports that have helped his development both physically and mentally. He started with soccer, but has been playing baseball since he was 5.
Now, Joseph, head up here.
Being busy and being active is when he is the happiest. If it's something he wants to try, we let him know, and then we always communicate with the coaches and let them know.
Garrett needs to catch and throw the ball with his right hand.
I have to flip it, grab the ball, and throw it back.
And he's developed a way to do it patterned after former Major League pitcher Jim Abbott, who was born without his right hand. Abbott played 10 years in the majors and threw a no-hitter with the Yankees in 1993. He is such an inspiration to Garrett that the family goldfish has been named after him.
My dad taught me Jim Abbott's way.
Man, that's a lot to go through. You know, that's the tough part. But I mean, he has been a trooper, and to his credit, has done everything his mom and dad asked him to do.
To Garrett, there is no other way. His disability is something he has, but does not define who he is, and it certainly does not slow him down.
Try your best. Don't give up.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's a real truth to that when you're presented with a challenge.
We've encouraged him to do anything that he wants to do. So I think if you give him an opportunity, they'll surprise you, and he's done that a million times.
Garrett's team is 5-5-1 through the season so far this summer. Thanks to the folks at Sportable, he will be attending a soccer camp in Lake George, New York later this year, which isn't all that far from Cooperstown, and a likely first trip to the Baseball Hall of Fame. They might even have something from Jim Abbott in there. All across the country, high schools are having homecoming ceremonies and games each and every week. This week, the Atlee Raiders will celebrate homecoming in a way that they've never done before. And for one of their players, this entire season has been a special kind of unique.
Friday nights in the fall belong to high school football. It's a chance for communities and families to come together, both on and off the field.
There are relationships that are about as close as you can get to being family. You go through such highs, you go through such lows.
For one player at Atlee, it was a Friday night back in May that gave his first indication of what family is really all about.
Said, bring him. That'll be a great way to get him introduced to us. No pressure. We're out of the campsite. We're sitting by a fire. We're going,
swimming
and whatever. And there he was. Friday night at 7 o'clock, he was here.
Isaiah Patterson had bounced around in the foster system for quite a while. He was paired with the Riley family in Mechanicsville, who felt an immediate connection with the child they felt chosen to shepherd.
It's in God's hands. God's going to put the kids who he knows that can be with us, with us.
Check out.
Regardless of if you feel nervous, you just have to push through, regardless of what it is, because you're not going to get to anything if you just give up at first.
Isaiah had played football at the rec league level until he was 12, but had never set down roots long enough to keep up with it, until he came to the Rileys and Atlee head coach Matt Gray, who laid out expectations from day one.
If we could make it happen, would you want to play high school football? He's like, it's like a dream.
You got an opportunity, but you're gonna have to do it our way. I just need you to listen and do what it is we're asking you to do, and his response was, yes, sir.
Patterson has played well enough to start at linebacker for the Raiders, holding himself to a new standard, supported fully by his new family at home and on the field.
We have seniors right now that have wrapped their arms around this guy and said, yeah, be a part of it.
They accepted him as part of the family, and they hold him accountable to being the family standard.
The players are really like brothers to me. They're like family. They're there when I need them. I can talk to them about things. And the coaches, they're really good staff. They make me want to do better.
As the Raiders get ready for their homecoming, they're doing something they've never done before. Players will have their names on the backs of their jerseys for one game only. Isaiah had a decision to make. And even though his adoption won't be official until later this year, he chose to have the name Riley stitched onto the back of his jersey.
I chose to put Riley because they're like family, so regardless, and then in the future, that's what I'm gonna have my name as anyways.
How does that make you feel? Blessed.
It's the best thing ever.
And that's bigger than wins and losses. It's more about impacting people.
It's a small but meaningful way for Isaiah to express the gratitude and appreciation he has for his new situation. The Rileys say that dire isn't a strong enough word to describe the state of foster care for teens right now, but for one young man in Hanover, things seem to finally be working out.
Most of the things that I do now is because I really want to improve myself, and they make me want to do that.
There we go. As soon as you see it, cross the line of scrimmage.
I'm getting ready to go to bed. It's almost midnight, and my phone buzzes, and I look, and it's him. And the text message says, thanks for giving me an opportunity to do something I love. I appreciate you.
He just knows that he's in a better place here than he could have been in the system somewhere else. And I think he just knows that we're behind him 100%.
If you would like to learn more about the foster care program, contact your local office with the Department of Social Services or check out Virginia's Kids Belong. We have added a link to their website on this story on ours. The Raiders will wear those uniforms tomorrow against Verina, and the players will keep them afterwards. Isaiah might wear his more than once.